Hey everybody! Today we're going to be talking about fact families and what those mean and how they help us. We started last week already sort of talking about fact families, and when we were looking at how you can use addition and subtraction equations when you're using the same number to help you solve the same problem. So when we're looking at fact families, that's exactly what it is. We're looking at equations that use addition, so when we're using the plus sign, or subtraction when we're using the minus sign. They go together, and knowing one of them helps you know the other one. So when we were in class, we talked a lot about the number 10 and all the numbers that you can add together to find the number 10, to equal the number 10. And in that, we talked about sister or brother equations. So when you swap the two number places, how it still equals 10. So let's say you have 8 plus 2. Its sister or brother equation would be 2 plus 8. Either way, it equals 10, but you're just swapping the two numbers places, which one you're starting with and then which one you're adding. So here's an example to talk a little bit more about fact families and how we can use them. If we start with our equation 9 plus 1 equals 10, what we're going to do first is we're going to find another addition equation, so we're still going to use a plus sign, but we're going to find the other addition equation that pairs with this one. All we're going to do is we're going to swap which place the 9 and the 1 are in, but it's still going to equal 10. So if we know that 9 plus 1 equals 10, even if we switch the first two numbers places and we have 1 plus 9, it still will equal 10. No matter what position those numbers are in, it doesn't matter which one we have first and then which one we're adding. Either way, we're going to land on the number 10. We're going to end up with the number 10. Now, if we think of these two addition equations, they also have subtraction equations that go with them. So just like we looked at last week when we were looking at finding the difference between two numbers and how there were addition and subtraction equations, number sentences that go together, we can use this example to find two more subtraction equations. So 9 plus 1 equals 10 and 1 plus 9 equals 10. With that, we know that 10 minus 1 equals 9. Now with the subtraction equations, we can do the same thing as we did in the last part with the addition. So if I swap the numbers 1 and 9 places, I'm still going to end up with the same equation. So if 10 minus 1 equals 9, I also know that 10 minus 9 equals 1. If we take all four of the equations that we have just been looking at and put them together, this is what's called a fact family. And a fact family is when you take three different numbers that all either add up together or if you use subtraction, they go together. And knowing one of the equations helps you figure out the other three. So with any set of numbers that you can add together to find the total, there's always two addition equations and two subtraction equations that you can also find with those same numbers. My example, I drew 6 dots, so I want you to figure out what you need to add to the 6 dots to get the number 11, and then find the fact family. Look at Ravi's example. We're going to start with 6 dots, and remember, we're always trying to make the number 11. So I'm going to use the strategy of counting on. So I'm going to start, I already know that this is 6, and I'm going to start counting on. So I'm going to count 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 11 is where I want to stop because that's our goal number. So 6 plus, I see I drew 5 dots, equals 11. So that's going to be my first equation. 6 plus 5 equals 11. Now, knowing what I know about fact families, I know that I can write 3 other equations just from knowing my first one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the other addition equation. So I'm going to swap the 6 and the 5. So 6 plus 5 equals 11. So I know that 5 plus 6 equals 11. And now I have my two subtraction equations to write. So now I'm going to start with the number 11 because in subtraction, we're starting with the bigger number and we're taking away some. We're going to a smaller number. So I'm going to start with 11 minus 6 equals 5. And then I'm just going to swap the 6 and the 5 again. So then I also know that 11 minus 5 equals 6. So there you have it. There's my fact family using the numbers 6, 5, and 11. So now it's your turn to always finding the number 11, but there's 4 different examples of what fact families you have to find. Have fun.